guys will
absolutely.
edit, and
Absolutely.
you're going to use a snippet of whatever you all decide to use for the Ithacan online.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll definitely be cutting it down. Yeah, I mean, basically disregard that. We're just having a conversation.
Okay.
So I first wanted to ask you why you wanted to create this division as your first big move as president of Ithaca College.
Sure. How I stated this at the all college gathering, but it was something that I was thinking about well before I came here. About the power of Ithaca College being a significantly, not small, but a good size institution with undergraduate residential experience really at the core of it. And so for me, given my background and what I've seen around student success, what I've seen around student retention, what it means to be deeply committed to undergraduate residential education, it was really clear to me, stemming from a number of conversations, as I stated in my message, and many reports and data points, and also my background, my experience, that we needed to have a more focused area deeply looking at the student experience at Ithaca College. But I wanted to be able to do that also while being laser focused about our need to look at the quality of experiences around our faculty and staff. And so the decision to be student-centered and really focus on the new Division of Student Affairs and Campus Life actually allows us to be stronger and more intentional about what we're doing for our faculty in the classroom, for the academic program, for the future of the curriculum, and ultimately what it means for all of us to be able to serve our students in the best way we can, inside and outside of their academic spaces. We have not done what we need to do in terms of having a coordinated vision and a step forward around what ultimately are we trying to do at Ithaca College for our students. We clearly have a mission as an institution, and that mission is very much about our students and what you learn throughout your lifespan here, and then what you do beyond. But I wanted, and you all wanted, the community wanted, a way for us to actually have a more focused approach around what that vision would be. So we can talk about this being a department and moving people, but that's not really what the goal is. The goal is to not only recreate a division, but really create a vision for student affairs at Ithaca College. And we are well positioned to do that there.
In the recent history of the college, no one has been appointed to a high-level position without an open search. So I wanted to ask you why you decided to make this decision, not hold an open search and then appoint someone yourself, and are you concerned that people might criticize your decision in doing that?
Sure, I think that's a great question. So a couple of things is to normalize a little bit about what I've done. So one is I actually, and I did it in a very purposeful way, a very urgent way, a very intentional and open way, that all of my conversations since I have started, from the very beginning I've said, this is our focus. This is going to be one of the major things that I'm going to put my energy and knowledge and heart into. And so this meaning what we're thinking about in terms of education affairs in general at the college, both the faculty and staff experience and then also the student experience, but most importantly what it means to be student-centered and actually activate that, make that happen. I know that there's a history here of an expectation, including my own presidential search, of having an open final round and obviously going through a process, and that certainly there's great value in that. And my message also states that I will be conducting a number of searches. We have some key needs at the institution that, including the provost and vice president for academic affairs, which are critical, and then some interim roles, like the vice president for finance and administration is an interim person on the team. This is an example. But there's a balance that you have to strike when you actually find someone who has all of the attributes that you're looking for in a leader, and someone who will bring exactly at this time what the college needs. And I happen to be following someone who's had an extraordinary career and has kind of the rare set of attributes and a combination of skill sets that we need that have come from exactly what this community has identified as critical needs. And as a new president, it's also very normal to be able to bring in some talent that I feel really strongly about. And obviously my job is to make sure that those talents are aligned with what this community needs. And what I was trying to do early on in my tenure here was make sure that I understood what your needs were. But also, I'm also introducing, I hope, Grace, what it means to be thoughtful and purposeful as a leader, but also decisive. And so I am committing to being very open and direct about why I'm making the decisions that I'm making as your president. But that doesn't mean that each and every time I actually don't have the opportunity to make a decision. So I feel like this is a really good indicator, I hope, for our community, that they have a president who's going to listen, who's going to ask hard questions, who's going to listen carefully, be deeply connected to students, and then make some decisions that are really important.
Clarify something you said in your answer referring to the finance and administrative
Yes.
post, the provost post, and also the diversity and inclusion post that are all interims right now. Have you decided yet if those are going to be open searches?
There's an answer to that. A simple answer is yes, there'll be a search for a provost and vice president for academic affairs. Yes, there will be a search for a vice president for, and I actually don't know if that title will be exactly the same, but finance and administration. We're actually, as I pointed out in my message, in conversations with firms that can really get us and do the right job. The provost search will be well informed by thoughts from the faculty about, and staff and students about what we ultimately need to do to enhance academic affairs at Ithaca College. And then the chief diversity officer search, that whole piece, I will be communicating more substantively and more thoughtfully about my thoughts about what I'd like to do with that position and where we are. And so here's the thing with open searches. There will be searches and there will be candidates. I don't know that all of those positions will have open final rounds where everybody sees all of the candidates.
Okay.
So keep in mind that for the provost search, we might have internal candidates. We might have candidates nationally that are sitting in posts where it would be very difficult for their identity to be public. So I need to be able to work with a search committee. Absolutely, we're going to have a search committee. We'll talk with people. The provost portfolio will be deeply informed by what people think we need. But in terms of open, I just want to make sure I'm understanding you. Absolutely, there'll be people and they will come to campus and there will be more than one person. Those won't be targeted searches, but in the end, we may not be showing everybody on campus if that's not a possibility. My preference would be to absolutely have an open final round if we can do that.
Okay.
I just don't want to promise that because I actually don't know where we're going to land in terms of the position portfolios, where we're recruiting, what search firm we're going to use, and all of those things take very careful thinking. But they're not going to be, let me be clear, they're not going to be completely closed that nobody's going to know what's going on.
Right.
We will be informing the community about what's happening.
Okay.
We're trying to be really as open as possible about the state of the budget. There are dollars and cents meetings that happen every month that are really open and transparent about where we are. So a lot of our financial planning, even though I'm making decisions about these positions now, because I see them as investments, right? I don't see them as deficits for us. But it does mean that we will need to align our resources to where we actually are placing our value. And I'm beginning to learn that, to think about that, to formulate that as I engage more and more members of our community. And our strategic planning process, which we will, and you've heard me say, this year is really about laying fertile ground for understanding what are the major themes. And so our strategic plan will need to be aligned with a financial strategy and plan that allows us to be healthy moving forward. And what I want a plan that's going to be really open, transparent, so that you and I can sit here and you can say, well, why are we spending money on this and not on this? And our plan and our roadmap that this community will decide, I'm not going to decide it exclusively, should be aligned with the human resources, the physical plan, and of course our our budget.
And so I wanted to talk a little bit about the Executive Director of Government and Community Relations position, and also just ask if there was any particular reason as to why Amanda Lippincott, who had served at the college for so long, resigned from that position after you offered her the promotion.
Yeah, so she didn't, I guess I should be really clear, she didn't resign from the position. She did not take the position. I welcomed her into the position. I wanted her. I thought that she would be absolutely the best person on my team to do it. I saw it as a win-win situation for Amanda to move into this new role. She has been a critical person in the community, has been an incredible support to me even prior to my arrival as I was preparing for the transition in. These are areas, government and community relations are areas of strength for her. And it was hard news to hear. I very much wish it would have been the opposite, but I had to really respect her decision to not take the position and to resign from the college.
And so I also just wanted to spend the last remaining time that I have just talking a little bit more about that position. So I believe...
Which position?
The Executive Director of Government and Community Relations. So within that position, from what I read from the announcement, that it's going to be working with, or the person in the position is going to be working with you, your vice presidents, and also student or groups on campus. And so it sounded to me in that definition that was almost like a shared governance initiative or a shared governance position. Can you just kind of lay out more firmly what exactly that person is going to be in charge of?
Yeah, so if you look at these positions at different institutions, they come in a variety of forms. But this is essentially the person in my office who will be paying close attention to what's happening at the federal, state, and local community level. Things that we should be paying attention to that are really important for us to be stakeholders in, well-informed on, topics that could deeply impact what we do in terms of our overall mission, and also someone who's connecting us to federal, local, community, and state level organizations and of course government officials. This is also, the community relations piece is really important because it's all about what Ithaca College is connected to or not, or should be connected to here in this area and in this region. And so I expect fully that this individual will allow me to be deeply connected and informed about critical issues happening, that our collaborations with TC3 and Cornell are strong, and those relationships are very, very good, and I want to keep them that way. And then you know that there are a lot of initiatives. I guess the confusion is this position needs to work across the VPs and across different areas of the college. You know that we have service learning, we have civic engagement initiatives and roles, and so this person will not have oversight of those things. They won't be directly reporting into that person, but they should absolutely have a pulse on what's going on. If we were to take just a general stock of all the things that I see that are connected to this topic, I would want this person to be able to really have a sense of that and make sure that the Office of the President is supporting those things, is connected to those things. So it's a lot of outreach, it's a lot of knowledge, and it's also someone that when a particular piece of legislation comes out, when there's a particular decision that's made, is advising, is supporting, is guiding us, not just me, but all of us at the institutions.